As it's me, it's Queen Aset Heru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Okay, so I got a message from a woman, and she had a very interesting theory. She said that she thought that Aquarius were darker or grayer when they were younger and got lighter or more positive as they got older. And as she started to talk about it, it made a lot of sense to me because Aquarius does have the tendency to be self destructive and wilder when we're young. Smoking, drinking, sexing, partying, dancing, jet setting around the place. Aquarius have more of a tendency to be wilder and sometimes self destructive when we're younger. So I think that her theory is a good one because a lot of times this is the kind of person that does darker, more treacherous things, may not be as honest, may lie, may think they can do whatever they want, whenever they want. So a younger Aquarius would definitely be more likely to fall into this area. When an Aquarius is young, it's hard for us to figure out how to be on this planet. Everything about this planet for us is often kind of difficult because we feel like aliens sometimes. Some of us don't feel like we even know if we belong here. So younger Aquarius do struggle with these challenges, but I think it could account for like 50% of us. But then the other 50% I have to think about because some Aquarius are never dark at all. They never go dark. They come in light, they're humanitarians, they're really kind, and they stay that way. It depends on their chart, and how their elements balance out. And likewise, some Aquarius who are dark don't go light. Some of them just stay, wild, spontaneous, and crazy. Think about the famous example, Rick James. Rick James is an Aquarius. I don't remember his birthday. I think it's the second. And Rick was wild. Everybody know Rick was wild. Rick died with 9 different drugs in his system, according to his toxology report. So Papa was still doing his thing. However, he had slowed down a bit. I think jail probably had something to do with that, but he had slowed down a bit. But look at that. He still was doing his thing. He still was drinking. He still was partying. He still was doing him. As a matter of fact, if you think about it, a lot of Aquarius like him die young. Rick died in his 50s. My father died in his 50s. That's too young to die. You're supposed to be alive until you at least 80. Come on now. So, like, the self destructive nature of their youth took them to an early grave. And that happens a lot with Aquarius because, like I said, if you don't get self discipline and control over yourself, the things that Aquarius like to do, such as addictions, will kill you eventually. Getting arrested, for acting wild, for being out there in the street doing crazy stuff, will get you arrested. Having a bad temper, will get you arrested, could get you in trouble. So I do agree with her theory. And I think that a lot of Aquarius would fall in line with her theory. Like I said, about half. But I also do take into consideration those Aquarius I've met who were always humanitarians, always sweet, always nurturing. They never got jaded and bitter. They never really cut loose either. There are those Aquarius. And like I said before, there are the ones who self destruct. They never get a chance to turn things around. You have to be alive and healthy enough to turn things around. But if you've abused your body and abused your life and abused yourself, sometimes you can't turn things around. That's why I always encourage young Aquarius who are dark, who are gray, who are chaotic, to look at changing their lives because the road basically leads to self-destruction. There's nothing else down that road. You can't party and drink and beat people up and lie and be treacherous and sleep with people's woman and a man and start trouble and you can't do that and you do all kinds of crazy stuff. You can't do that and expect to live long and prosperous. You got to pick one or the other. Either you want to wild out or you want to be old and prosperous. You know, you have to pick one or the other. So that's why I always encourage my younger Aquarius, because I was in that space as a young Aquarius, being wild. For me, it was a journey. I started off very light. I started off very kind, very loving, with a bad temper. That's how I was as a little kid. My mom's stories about me are always about me being kind, being sweet, being loving, hugging people, giving, love, but having the worst temper. I was born with the worst temper. My mom always talks about my temper tantrums. My temper tantrums are legendary in my house, in my mother's house. So it is what it is. I came in that way. So I went from being light with a bad temper to being very chaotic, because to me, like I told you guys, I could do whatever I wanted. So I did. I did whatever I wanted, and if somebody didn't like it, I just dissed them or lied about it, whatever I wanted, whatever that may be, And that changed from moment to moment. I had very little direction, didn't have a cause to be a rebel about, but was still a rebel. And I just stayed that way for a while, just more and more chaotic, more drinking. I never did heavy drugs because I saw people really get messed up with that. So that didn't seem like a logical idea to me. But I still would party, I would hang out. I remember when I was a very young girl, like 18, 19, 20, I would, come home from work and spend time with my daughter. She was very little back then. And then I would put her to bed. Her bedtime every night was 9 p.m. Every night. Every night till she was like 16. Her bedtime was 9 p.m. because mama got to live, So she will go to bed at 9 o'clock. I would put her to sleep. I would go to the bar. Her father was there, of course. I would go to the bar, leave her with her father, be at the bar till 2 a.m., go to the after hours spot till 5 a.m. And this was like 2 or 3 times a week, And then we would go have breakfast, come home, get an hour or two of sleep, change my clothes, and go back to work or go to school. Because back then I was at work and at school. So there was a time, when, I was living that, I was living that fast, running around, going here, doing that kind of life. We were drunk and laughing and joking and partying. We lived to party. We lived to party. I lived for a White Russian. That was my favorite drink, White Russians. I lived for a Newport and some White Russian. That was my thing, 18, 19, 20 years old. I wasn't even really old enough to be in the bar. When I first started going to the bar, I had no business in the bar. The first time I went to the bar, and this to tell you how chaotic a young Aquarius is. The first time I ever went to a bar, I was like 12 going on 13 years old. And my friends were older than me. My friends were always older than me. Everybody on the block was like 15 and 16 by then. So I devised a plan how we were going to go hang out at this bar, because one of the 16-year-olds knew some guy who said he was going to be there. Some older guy she ain't had no business messing with. So he said he was going to be there. Come through and bring your friends. He didn't know how old she was. She was lying to him, So I was like, yeah, let's go, y'all. And I got, we had like, outfits, and we, took our mom's skirt, and somebody else took a shirt, and we had some makeup, and we made ourselves look like women, basically, and went to this bar and drank pink champagnes and drank all night. And the bartenders and nobody in the bar was none the wiser. We looked like women. If you had talked to us, you probably could tell we wasn't women, but we looked like grown women. And we was in the bar dancing and popping our fingers to 2 o'clock in the morning. And, I was the one that masterminded that whole thing. So from day one, I was always, masterminding stuff, and I was always the youngest. So some Aquarius are like that. And there are other Aquarius who would never do something like that. They're sweet. They're home with their mommy at 12 years old, So it just really depends on the type of Aquarius you are. I remember when I started high school, I was already smoking cigarettes. Already smoking Newports at 13. I was very young. I just grew up so fast. I was so independent. And my poor mother, I think really did everything she could to get me. I think that was always the friction between us, and it probably is still the reason why we have friction, because she's always trying to get me in line. That's that Capricorn. But the Aquarius will not be put in line. We will not be. We have to put ourselves in line. The only person who can control an Aquarius is the Aquarius themselves. We have to want to change. We have to want to be self-disciplined. So I really do think her theory makes a lot of sense. And I think for a great deal of us, including myself, I think it's probably very true. Darker and grayer when I was younger and light as I got older. Some people say I just got old and they're like, you just got old and couldn't run the streets no more. And I'm like, nah, I had a couple more years in me. I just let it go because I knew it was time to grow up. I knew it was time to move on. And I wanted to be a different kind of person. I wanted to be a happy person. I don't want to die at 50. I want to live to 75, 80, 85 years old. I didn't want to die from cirrhosis of the liver or because somebody shot me for messing with their dude or their chick or something like that. I didn't want that to be my legacy. I wanted to be a better person. So again, only the Aquarius can get the Aquarius in check. Okay, so thank you so much for your theory. It's a great one. And if you know anybody who has this going on, who's an Aquarius or who is dealing with a chaotic Aquarius or something along those lines, please pass this video on to them. Please give my video a thumbs up. And thank you all who have been talking to me in the comment section and thanking me and telling me how you feel and, giving me your opinions and your thoughts. Thank you so much for participating at Ask an Aquarius, because we're teaching each other through this process. And that's how it works the best. If you would like to leave me a love donation, I will leave my PayPal. If you would like to get a tarot or oracle card reading, I will leave my email. And if you would like to hit me up on social media, I'll leave my Facebook and my Instagram information. And please pass this video on, and please come back tomorrow. I will have 2 more exciting videos for you. See you later.